Hey AT family, I'm about to show you step by step how we transform the serve motion of one of our private VIP students. My name is Kirby Bridges and I'm a pro here at EssentialTennis.com, where it's our mission to bring passionate instruction to passionate players just like you. The student you're about to see is named Anne, and she recently came out to work with us from Chicago, Illinois. We showed her how to dramatically improve her service motion by learning a proper throwing motion. At the end of the video, I'll also let you know how you can get our free serve action plan so you can follow our coaching to improve the very next time you're on court. For now, let's get straight on court.
So the first thing we're going to do is, we talked about this position, kind of the setup position, aka trophy pose. The first thing we're going to do is just get you comfortable going to this position first, as kind of like this is our starting our starting point,
Okay.
that everything else is going to build off of. Okay. The main thing I want you to look at here, the position of his elbow relative to his body. It would be easy to think here that his elbow is down, but if you look at his chest, the alignment of his spine and his shoulders, his elbow, his tricep, his arm is actually just in line with his shoulders. It's dropped because his entire body has tilted. Yeah. So it's not so much that he's dropping his arm as it is he's just leaning, he's tilting, he's kind of arcing his hips out and tilting his upper body up towards the ball. Okay. So that's thing number one, you're very close. And then the other part of it is the position of his upper arm and his racket. Tip of his racket is pointing upwards, and his hand and his wrist are just in a neutral position here. So this is what we're going to start with, practicing just going from your starting position to this trophy pose. And then after that, we'll talk about how the body is going to work and move together. All right, going up to the baseline, please. So start off the way you normally do, and I'd like you to go from your initial setup position and try to mimic that. We're not going to worry about, like I told you before, we're not going to worry about the bowing out and the tilting quite so much. So you can just stay upright with your posture for the time being. But I'd like to see you try to copy the rest of that position.
I'm not going back.
However you want to take it back is fine.
It's just going.
But I'd like to see you start from your setup position, and however you normally take your racket back, go ahead and do that. But I want you to practice hitting those new positions. So I'd like to see you turned a little bit further back. This is a good spot for your elbow. And this should be a neutral position, meaning just a straight line, back of your hand and your forearm, and tip of the racket up. That's good.
Tip of the racket up like this?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so just a neutral position with your hand. Yep, that's great.
Oh, that feels weird.
You remember what happened the last time you said something felt weird and then you kept doing it?
I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, we're not going to go any further than just going from your setup position just right to here. And I'll come in and correct you a couple times. Relax. There you go.
It's even further back.
Than you were. Not by a lot though. Like I told you before, you were already doing a better job than most people. So a little bit more turn back, but not a lot. In fact, probably don't even need to worry about that right now. I'd rather you focus on your right arm and your right hand and your racket. To see this just a little more upright. Yeah. So here's where you are now. So this position plus a little bit of tilt upwards is exactly what we want. It's upper body as a whole leaning back. Got it? So from this position, we mentioned briefly before that if you were to open your hand, your right hand, your hand would be facing forwards right now, but to the right if you're facing towards the net. So the way that a good service motion or throwing motion, same exact thing, works is as your body starts to turn forwards is when your shoulder will load. And that happens by turning your hand inwards so it faces to the left.
Okay.
And that rotation loads the shoulder, and that's that's the mechanism that should create a racket drop in your motion. And then from there, as you rotate forwards, it's a matter of unwinding and releasing that built up energy upwards towards the ball. So the way I like to think of this is palm facing right, palm facing left, palm facing forwards towards the target. And actually, if we watch Novak, that rotation continues and it continues rotating outwards, so it's actually facing to the right again. So the pattern is right, left, right. Right, left, right. That make sense? So let me see you do that actually without your racket first. Just kind of focus on your palm. So right, yep, left, and where you'll feel the stretches in your shoulder here, laying your shoulder back, and then right again. Right, yep.
And then, I got lost in a second.
No problem. So as you turn forwards, the key to the racket drop is this laying back of your shoulder. Remember how we were looking at Novak's forearm? Let me show you that again real quick. Here's that rightward facing position with his hand. His hand turns inwards, and he's like unbelievably flexible. So here his forearm is actually angled down towards the court slightly. So here's his palm facing to the left. You can tell that by where his strings are facing, right there. Palm facing forwards. Palm facing to the right again. So right, left, and right.
But is what's the elbow doing from the first to the second, the left to the right?
Let me show you real quick. If we draw a line this way, his right elbow is starting below that line and his left elbow above it. And then as he unwinds up towards the ball, now his right elbow is above it and his left elbow is below it. So there's a full rotation of his upper body upwards towards the ball. So the line his elbow is tracing is like this. So let me see you try to trace that. Palm to the right. Yep. Yep. Hand will just finish across on your left side.
This way or?
Yep. Way? To the left of your body.
Okay. So. 1, 2.
Yep.
Okay.
You've got it with your forearm. We need to work on the shoulder a little bit, but go ahead and move through it the way you just did a couple times.
It's sort of like throwing a ball. Doing this. Doing this with it. Sort of. Because you're turning it. Because it's like this and then you turn.
This way?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
I'm going to get a video for you really quick. A minute or two ago, you motioned with your hand like, oh, this is a really big misconception that to throw a ball, or especially a football, to throw a spiral, your hand should be turning inwards to spin the ball. It's actually the exact opposite. So watch, this is the racket drop position that Drew is in with his hand facing inwards right now. And now watch how he releases his hand to the right.
Okay.
So it's not an inward release. It's actually an outward.
Okay.
It's actually an outward release. His hand actually, if we had another angle, I think his hand is actually like facing upwards right here. And so this is the exact same mechanics, a little bit different direction. Serve is a little more upward focused motion. This is a little bit more lateral. But it's the same load with the shoulder and then release with the shoulder and the forearm. So
From here, then what?
as you turn forwards, your palm will rotate in.
So nothing else is moving except from my palm. I'm just doing this.
Your shoulder should lay back and your forearm rotates inwards. So this is the rotation inwards, and then also should lay, however much flexibility we have to work with there, we want to lay the shoulder back also.
Okay, so it's this, that. So it's elbows are actually going up higher.
As your body rotates, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then,
Yep.
okay.
So it's inward rotation and then outward rotation. So I'd like to see you do this with your racket now. Going back to that same setup position, then rotating forwards. In addition to your core's rotation, your hand and your forearm should also be rotating inwards, because we want a low range of motion here. We want the racket to drop down, because to the extent we can load this downwards is also to the extent that we can accelerate upwards up towards the ball. Here's your starting position. Turn. You had kind of a secondary drop here. Like, we'd absolutely love to see this. See how your forearm is horizontal right now to the court. Your racket is down at about waist height. And then from there, accelerate up towards contact and around. So this is a pretty good framework here. We just want to get to this position smoothly from this one without the high pit stop. And so once we get kind of familiar and comfortable with these positions, the goal is to, from this position, once the racket starts to drop, make it a smooth, continuous, circular path all the way around and up towards the point of contact. Your current service motion is not circular at all. You're starting from here and going in a straight line up towards the ball. So it's very linear, and I've used the word push, and like kind of a shot put, like upward shot put kind of motion. Whereas this is circular, and we're loading the shoulder and then unloading it upwards towards the ball. Make sense? Yep. So keep moving through that motion the way you just were. I want you to get more familiar with it. Nice job. So here's the last couple reps that you made. I like this rep a lot better. This is a really nice position with your arm and your shoulder. The racket traveled further to the right before going up towards contact.
Okay.
On your previous reps where you were going through, this kind of got cut a little bit short, and you started coming up already here before the racket really made it over to the right a little bit further. This is what you were doing before.
Oh yeah.
It's the shot put serve. And honestly, for the motion you were using, you were hitting the ball pretty solid. Not a whole lot of like ceiling above where you were as far as like resulting shot with the technique that you were using. What we're doing here, it gives us a whole lot more.
Well, I had limited power
potential
with that.
Yeah.
I could not hit it hard for the life of me.
So for the next couple reps, I'd like to see you give me your best effort at just embodying that looseness and the lead with your body, with your torso. And so before each rep, I'd love to see you just kind of like, just shake your arm out and then go through the rep with that amount of looseness from the shoulder down. And once your arm is that loose, I want you to focus on leading the racket forwards with your core, with your chest. So here's your second to last repetition. So from here, watch the tip of your racket. So this is the shape that we want to see. Ballpark. Now, I'd love to see a repetition with the ball in the air where we trace that same path. Let me see that just a few more times, just really, really smoothly. And then I'm going to ask you to toss out into the court like a fake toss, or an unhittable toss. Yep, nice job. I just want you to focus on that little U that I just drew on your back with the path of the racket. I want you to focus just on that. Good. All right, now 2 more of those and then toss it where you can't hit it. I just want you to execute that little U back behind you. Good. Did you do it?
Yes.
There's the little U right there. See what I'm talking about? It's shadow swing. There it is. Got cut a little bit short, but it's still in there. It didn't make it quite as far over to the right as the other ones.
Can you see the other one?
Yeah, sure. So watch relative to the right side of your body. See how right here it's even with the right side of your body? The repetition before that, even with the right side of your body. On the actual toss, it's in the middle of your back.
Okay.
Now, on the ones where you actually hit the ball, the racket only makes it to like here. So this is like halfway in between this is your shadow swings. This is on a toss you can't hit.
Yeah.
And then this is where you stop on your actual hits. So this is kind of where I'm interested in focusing on. Okay, and let's go ahead and go for a hit. Only focus is on executing that arm motion the same. I like what you did with the racket back behind. You're allowing it to drop. Good in. So look at your elbow. That's on a practice swing. And watch the shape of the path of your racket. And then here's your actual hit. Look at your elbow. And the racket's coming from here upwards instead of from here upwards.
Okay.
So now it's just a matter of finding a practice, sequence or routine that can help you continue to bridge the gap between those two different movements. The one with the ball in the air that you just hit is still a step in the right direction from where we started, but we know that your body is capable of moving in a more effective way than that. Yeah. It's just a matter of training away from the old habit, which is the hard part.
Anne's overall understanding and ability to execute a quality serve motion has already dramatically improved. But it's important to remember that this is just the beginning of her serve development. So to help her cement these changes into new habits, we sent her home with a detailed action plan to follow so she can continue advancing. Now I'd like to invite you to take advantage of that same opportunity by downloading our special serve action plan. Even though our coaches won't be right next to you like we were with Anne, we can give you the next best thing, a powerful, effective step-by-step process to follow at home. Get instant access to our Serve Action Plan PDF by clicking the link in the description down below, or by going to www.serveactionplan.com. Just let us know where to send it and you'll know exactly what to do the very next time you practice, so you can get serve results just like Anne. Finally, do me a favor, and after you get your action plan, come back to this video and leave a comment to let me know how your results are coming along. If this video was helpful to you, please make sure to give it a like, and don't miss a single one of our upcoming lessons by subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, take care. Thank you so much again for watching, and we will see you next time.